start about the factor influencing cultivation of medicinal plants. Till now, we have discussed the different techniques of the cultivations, right? The vegetative propagation, seed propagation, micro propagation. So during the cultivation, what is the type of what do you call factors it is there which can influence the cultivation, that we are going to discuss. In that, the first factor, that is the here you can see light, rainfall, soil, temperature, humidity, altitude, fertilizer, pest control, growth regulator, polyploidy and mutation. These are the techniques which also can influence the cultivation factor. So here you can see that the lot of things which are directly or indirectly having their role in the growth of medicinal crop. So they are going to influence the factor, influence the cultivation, sorry. So the first one, let us discuss the light. Light is the only external source of energy for the continuation of life of the plant, right? It influence photosynthesis and opening and closing of stomata, which is having the role in the participation of gas, plant movements, seed germination, flowering, and vegetative growth like tuber formation, right? So light is having major role, right, in these kinds of, without photosynthesis, without light, the photosynthesis, it is not possible, because that is only the process of the plants to prepare their food. Then the respiration, the opening and closing of the stomata, that is also very important. Plant movement is the sense how the plant will grow up, how the plant will conduct its physiological action, right? Seed germination, seed also, without light seed cannot germinate, even though if you will show into the soil, if it will be there for the long time, until and unless the sunlight will not go there, they are not coming out. The flowering and vegetative growth like a tuber formation, this is also depending on the light. Dry sunny weather increases the proportion of glycosides in digitalis and the alkaloid in belladonna. There two example has been given. Dry sunny weather, if it is dry sunny weather, it will increase the number of the quantity of glycoside in digitalis and the quantity of alkaloid in belladonna. That's what light is having very important. So if low light and less light, it is definitely going to affect your cultivation of your medicinal plant. Second one is the temperature, right? Temperature is temperature is the sense weather temperature, the climatic temperature, right? So that's what the cool area when apple can grow, and in dry area it cannot go. In dry area, somewhere grapes, somewhere apple, somewhere orange. So all the fruits or all the plants can grow at particular region only because of the agroclimatic temperature. The temperature is the major factor influencing the cultivation of medicinal plant. The sudden decrease in temperature, it causes the formation of ice crystals into the intercellular spaces of the plant. If temperature will decrease or it will become low suddenly, what will happen? The ice crystals in intercellular spaces which is there inside the plant, in leaf, stem, root, flower, bark, there will be the ice formation, and again it is going to have the problem in their physiological action. As a result, water comes out of the cell, and ultimately plant die due to the drought and the desiccation, right? So that's what the water will come out, the leaching activity, it will take place, and the if the water will come out, ultimately plant start dying, right? Water absorption decrease at low temperature. Of course, water absorption from the root by the xylem phloem, it will the water, the transportation of the water, it will be there. If the temperature is low, it absorption will also decrease. The rate of photosynthesis is affected by the change in temperature. So temperature as having its own importance, and it will vary or it will interfere plant to plant and region to region. That's what, in cool weather only cool plant which is like apple and other things which identified to cool weather, that can grow it there only. We cannot can it cannot grow into the hot weather like right. So the next one, the second one, that is the temperature. The third one, it is altitude. Altitude means the label from the sea, right? The altitude is the most important factor influencing cultivation of medicinal plant. Yes, as the altitude increases, the temperature and the atmospheric pressure decrease, while the wind velocity, relative humidity, and the light intensity increase. That's what if you go to the Mount Everest or into the high level, what will happen that oxygen will not be sufficient, and that's what those who are climbing the mounts, they will keep their oxygen cylinders and all. So what happened here? The altitude, the height, I can say, when it will increase, the temperature and atmospheric pressure will decrease. The atmospheric pressure, it will not be there that much, while the wind velocity and the relative humidity, light intensity, it will increase, right? So what is the impact of these things, this climatic variation? It will impact onto the plant, because plant also having its own physiological process, absorbing the water, transportation of the minerals and other things. So that's what it happened. Thus, and the climatic conditions change with height, they also produce change in the vegetation pattern, right? That's what you can see here. The the example of tea, which can grow into the Assam, Darjeeling, Sikkim, in this area. So here, when in hill only they can grow, because the altitude, it is how much meter, 1000 meter from the sea level, 1500 meter from the sea level, 2000 meter from the sea level. What is the height from the sea level? That is only the important. For example, for tea, 1000 to 1500 meter, the range has been given. So in that range only the tea plant can grow suitably. That's what altitude having very important role in the cultivation. Here few examples has been given. The bitter constituents of gentian root or gentian lutea, that is the scientific name, increase with the altitude, whereas the alkaloid of aconitum, nacellus, and the lobelia inflat, and the oil content of the thyme and the peppermint, it will decrease, right? So that's what here. If the altitude increase with altitude, right, bitter, because gentian, it is famous for the bitter constituents, to have the bitter constituents. So if altitude it will increase, bitter constituent will also increase. Whereas the alkaloid, because aconitum and the lobila, these two plants are identified for the production of alkaloid, and oil content rhythm petal, it will decrease. If the altitude will increase, it will decrease. So you can see that this altitude or this height, if it is increasing, it is directly having interference into the constituents present in the particular plant. Like pyrethrum gives the best yield in high altitude. Pyrethrum is the flower which is used for natural pesticide. It gives best yield or very good yield, which the constituents we are expecting from the pyrethrum flower, that will be having more when you will go for high altitude, or 1500, 1700, 2000. High altitude means the meter, the height from the sea level, it will be more. So it will, examples here you have given there. For tea, 9500 to 1500, cinnamon 300 to 1000 meter, saffron up to 1250 meters. So that range has been given. In this range of altitude, if you are cultivating, you are going to get the good yield. The next one is the rainfall. This is the fourth one, right? We have discussed the till now we have discussed temperature uh, the temperature, light, and altitude, and the fourth one, rainfall. The rainfall are most important factor influencing cultivation of medicinal plants. The main source of water for the soil is rainwater, right? Soil will get water from where? The rainwater. Whenever the rain will come, they will absorb the water and they'll keep them, and further it will go to the plant. Rainfall and the snowfall have a large effect in the climatic condition, right? Anyway, here in Hyderabad, we are not facing experiencing any snowfall, but wherever it will, if it happen, definitely it is going to interfere into the climatic condition, whether the climatic condition, it is having the cool or dry or humid, that will the water form rainfall flows into the rivers and the lake and the percolates into the soil to form groundwater, and the remaining is evaporated. Of course, this thing we have seen in the environmental science also, right? How the water circulation it go on. So here it happened likewise. The minerals in the soil get dissolved in water and are then absorbed by the plant. So whatever the minerals are there, that will dissolve into the water, and that mineral is going to be the food for the plant, and it will be absorbed by the plant from their root, and the plant will process it. It's a normal growth. Water influences morphological and the physiology of the plant, right? So that happen time to time. The next one, it is this soil. Of course, soil is having its own or great importance in the cultivation, and how it is going to interfere its cultivation. The soil is defined as a surface layer of the earth formed by the weathering of rocks. Okay, the soil should contain appropriate amount of nutrients, of course, organic matters, yes, and other elements to ensure the optimal medicinal plant growth and the quality. Because if the soil is having full of nutrient material, what plant required, definitely the plant it is going to possess very good physiological action and very good normal growth. The optimal soil condition, including soil type, drainage, moisture retention, fertility, and the pH, will be uh, dictated by the selected medicinal plant species or target medicinal plant part. Right. So here the soil condition, including the soil type, what is the clay, sand, loamy, what is the particle size, 0.02 0.002 mm in length. So accordingly, because it will ultimately going to hold the water, going to hold the nutrient matters, so that it can provide to the medicinal plant or any of the crop. That's what soil plays major role during the cultivation. Here you can see that the soil made up of five components: mineral matter, soil air, soil water, organic matter or humus, soil organisms. Plant depend on soil for nutrients, water supply, and anchorage. So soil influence like seed germination. Of course, the side, what is the size of the particle of the soil? Accordingly, the seed, how much depth you kept the seeds, whether they are able to fulfill the respiration or not, whether they are getting proper depth or not. That's what seed germination depend on the soil. Capacity of the plant to remain erect, form, vigor, and woodiness of the stem, it also depend on the soil. Depth of the root system, that also depend on the soil. Number of flowers on the plant, yes, of course, if good soil, number of fall will bear more, because the root strength is very good, and drought. So like that it go on. Classification of soil particle, you can see here: clay, sandy soil, loamy soil, sandy loam, silt loam, and cal- calcareous soil. So here you can see the type of soil. The real image it has given. Loamy means it will be like black. It look like a cow dung and like that. Clay means it will be somewhat brown, and this will be also black. But so here all the type of soil, the difference in the particle size. Clay soil, you can let us discuss. Clay particle are very small, 0. I think 0.002 something, right? These fit together very closely, and therefore leave very less pore space. These spaces get filled up with water very easily, right? So that's what the water holding capacity of the soil, it interfere because of this particle size. Hence the clay soil become quickly water loaded, right? Water logged. So it will be holding, the such soil have practically no air. Therefore the plants growing in this soil are not able to absorb water because of this size of the soil, and the cracks and the shrinks when conditions are dry, the soil, right? Then the rich in nutrient elements was, but only the problem with the water. Yeah, whereas in the sandy soil, the sand particle are large sized. The size of the particle it is large. These leaves large pore space which do not have the capillary action, and therefore water is not retained by them. Capillary action will not be there because of the large pore space. It will leave large pore space. The air leakage will be there. Most of the water is quickly drained off and reaches deep into the soil. As the result, roots spread and also reach great depth. The sandy soil is poor in nutrient elements. It is less fertile, and the plant growing in this soil have less dry weight. Right. So this happen in the sandy soil. Coming to the next one, third one, loamy soil. The mixture of clay, silt, and sand is known as loam. Loam is very useful for growth. It is fertile soil because it contains available nutrient elements in sufficient amount. It has a very high water retention capacity, and appropriate amount of soil air is also present. Soil air appropriate amount, because soil also supposed to have the air which will help the respiration of the seeds and the roots. The plant growing in loamy are vigorous and have very high weight. Sandy loam, the amount of sand particle is more than their type of loam, that is called a sandy loam. Silt loam, silt loam is considered to be the most fertile as it contains more amount of organic substance other than other soil. Here you can see the another factor affecting of cultivation, that is fertilizer. Fertilizers are two types basically, biological fertilizers and the chemical fertilizers. Coming to the biological fertilizers like manure, biofertilizers, these two types. In the chemical fertilizers, macronutrient and micronutrient. Under the manure, there are three types: farmyard manure, composited manure, and the green manure. Right. So, biological organic fertilizers. Let us discuss. Soil is generally poor in organic matter and nitrogen. So, these the substance of biological origin used as a fertilizer, and that are selected if these could be provide the elements required which is not there along with your soil. So these are two types, manure and biofertilizers. Right here you can see that in large scale how the manure compost they are doing. Manure, so it is the material which are mixed with soil. These supply the almost all the nutrients required by the crop or medicinal plant. This result in the increase of crop productivity, of course. Manures are three types like farmyard, composited, and a green manures, right? Farmyard. This is the mixture of cattle dung and the remaining unused part of the plant like straw and stalk feed of cattle, like we also do in this home. You can do also in your home if you are cultivating any flower. If it is there in the pot, you whatever the vegetable you are cutting and whatever the waste part of the vegetable is there, that you can put onto the pot, and slowly it will contaminate and it will become a, it is going to fulfill the nutritional requirement of your plant. It may be the flower or anything, right? Composite, it consists the mixture of the rotted or decomposed and the useless part of the plant and the animals also, right? So like any so this happened, they the people, the farmers are doing this one. Green manures, it is the herbaceous crop plucked under and mixed with the soil while still green to enrich the soil. Yes, the plants used in the green manure are often quick growing. These add both organic as well as nitrogen to the soil. It is also form a protective soil cover that checks soil erosion and leaching. Thus, the crop yields increases by 30 to 50%. Right. So only plant can be the fertilizer for the plant. Biofertilizers, okay. It can be defined as biologically active products or bacteria or algae and fungi which useful in bringing about soil nutrient enrichment. Here you can see rhizobium also it is available. These mostly include nitrogen fixing microorganisms like azotobacter, here rhizobium, symbiosis, canadobacter, cyanobacteria, and mycorrhiza, right? So these are the different types of microbes which can be used, right? It will come into this form, like you can put here near the plant, and after some water it will dissolve and go inside, and it will be soaked by the plant. Chemical fertilizers, the macro elements, micro elements. Macro means nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur. Micro means iron, manganese, zinc, boron, copper, molybdenum, right? So these are the chemical fertilizers which can be pest and pest control management. This I will tell you in the next class. Okay.